Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. But before I get started, I am going to do a video on HBAR. I've been wanting to get that video done for a couple of days now. It is absolutely coming. And before you say, oh, look, Rich is abandoning XRP, a lot of you might not remember this, but I used to talk about every single ISO cryptocurrency on a daily basis back in the bear market when nobody wanted to hear about crypto. But I definitely want to talk about HBAR once again. So we're looking at XRP on the one-day chart, sitting here at $2.21. The market finally turned green. Look at Bitcoin back up above 106K. And we are still following Bitcoin. The charts look almost identical. And it looks like we now may see the market continuing upward finally, because things are starting to settle down around tariffs. Trump administration is demanding final trade deal offers from countries by Wednesday to avoid new tariffs. So as long as these countries start coming to the table with some sort of deal, this could all end this week. He just cut a deal with China as well. The U.S. has extended the tariff pause on select Chinese goods until August 31st. Global trade tensions ease for now. Markets might just breathe a little easier. And let's hope that continues, because I would love to see this market finally start to break out. It's going to begin with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still going to have that one last big push up before it comes crashing down and we go into alt season. And this also fits the timeline for maybe Bitcoin to top out sometime in July or August. That's what most Bitcoin maxis are saying right now. Jerome Powell just finished speaking and didn't mention rate cuts or a resignation. I knew he wasn't going to resign. I said this in a video yesterday. He's going to go full term into 2026. But I think that's when things are going to change drastically in the United States. He might not have talked about rate cuts, but he talked about Bretton Woods. Take a listen to this.
Had emerged from World War II as a global economic superpower. The Bretton Woods Agreement placed the U.S. and the Fed in a central position in the global economy. Our mission then, as it is now, was to serve the American people. But it was clear at that moment that the Fed needed to have better knowledge of global developments to achieve our dual mandate goals. A 1948 memo proposing to create the division stated, quoting, "Problems of international economics and finance have become increasingly large, complex, and significant in recent years, and our foreign economic relations will undoubtedly continue to give rise to issues of the first magnitude." That rare economic forecast that has turned out to be spot on. 75 years later, it remains critical that the Fed understand the policies and practices of other governments and central banks and their implications for the U.S. economy and for financial markets. Exchange rate policy, of course, is now firmly in the hands of the U.S. Treasury. However, the end of the Bretton Woods era in the 1970s fundamentally changed the conduct of monetary policy, as policymakers had to understand the effects of potentially more volatile movements of the U.S. dollar on American families and businesses. Understanding global trade and capital movements has only grown in importance since 1950, as we saw during the pandemic.
What he's telling you is the power is going to shift from the Fed back to the Treasury. And I still do believe we are going to have a gold-backed currency. I think it's going to be in digital form, like a gold-backed digital dollar. But our dollar is going to be backed by something. And the fact that Powell is now talking about Bretton Woods, that shows you the shift is coming. $100 million XRP boost stuns major exchange reserves. So OKX has been making some major moves lately. They added over 50 million XRP to their wallets between April 7th and May 10th. While the monthly transparency report often comes and goes without fanfare, this change stands out. XRP wallet balances jumped from 199.2 million to 248.5 million, a 24% increase that puts the token at the top of the list this cycle. At the same time, user account balances for XRP went up by about 49 million, which makes it seem like the exchange is either getting ready for higher user demand or responding to it in real time. The reserve ratio for XRP dropped a bit from 110% to 108%, but is still far above the 1-to-1 backing threshold. There is so much demand for XRP. Even the exchanges are now getting ready for what comes next. I'm telling you, when FOMO comes for XRP, it is going to be epic. I mean, everybody is going to want this cryptocurrency once it really breaks out. Everybody knows the potential of XRP. And then on top of that, we have institutional demand as well. It is going to be a very exciting time. 630 million XRP on the move. Ripple involved in the movement. Here's what happened. So more than 600 million XRP have been transferred in multiple transactions linked to Ripple and other unknown entities. Then they go on to talk about how Ripple locked back 670 million XRP in escrow across 2 transactions. And they didn't unlock the 1 billion tokens. They changed up this month so far. Now, is that unlock going to come later? We really don't know. But for now, it looks like Ripple's locking XRP away. And that has people once again talking about the Ripple escrow. Expert explains why XRP escrow is not bad for price. It's starving the market. An XRP community pundit has suggested that the Ripple escrow system does not harm the XRP price, arguing that it starves the market of more tokens. With Ripple holding billions of XRP, some have argued that this creates a centralized system, raising fears of a potential price suppression. Critics such as Bitcoin Maxis claim Ripple's monthly escrow release act as token dumps, introducing supply pressure. Notably, even some within the XRP community believe these monthly releases are suppressing price growth. Now, when Ripple unlocks the 1 billion tokens, the price literally moves a penny or two. Then Ripple locks away a lot of that XRP, usually around 700 million tokens, and then the price corrects. We've seen that all during the bear market. It's not that Ripple is dumping these tokens on the XRP community. But some people think that there's going to be this major dump at some time down the road. Ripple uses XRP strategically to acquire other companies to build more utility for XRP along the way. Everybody also wanted Ripple to burn all their XRP that's in escrow. That will do nothing for the price. Stellar did that with XLM, and guess what happened? The price went up about 20%, then it came right back down. Same thing would happen if they burned all the Ripple escrow. I like the fact that Ripple is holding that escrow. That shows that there's going to be more growth as time goes on. I also think a lot of that escrow is already set aside for the IMF, the Fed, and other central banks. But everybody fuds on that escrow and they're so concerned about it. I don't get it. If Ripple wanted to, they could sell off all that escrow right now. But I think under the smart contract that's set up on the XRP ledger, that it would take all the way up until 2027 until all the XRP in Ripple's escrow is finally released. But you got to remember, Ripple is also locking back at the same time. I look at it like this. It's better in the hands of Ripple than it is in the hands of someone else. 9 countries push CBDCs to end fiat currencies. This isn't going away. I remember when I first looked at the CBDC map, and back then it looked a lot different than it does today. CBDCs are definitely coming. A lot of countries are set to go live within the coming months. I'm talking by the end of this year, early 2026. And Ripple is well positioned around central bank digital currencies. It's no secret. There's countries building their central bank digital currency on the XRP ledger. But one thing I want to point out is with the rise of CBDC, it's essential to have offline payments. Offline CBDC. Ripple CBDC platform enables offline transactions via smartphones or IC cards, ensuring economic activity persists during disasters or in remote areas. This high resilience is vital for modern financial systems. They also have a 2-tier model. Ripple separates domestic CBDC payments from cross-border transfers, where XRP or RLUSD acts as a neutral bridge asset, enhancing global interoperability. But now Ripple shifted again. They're also going after domestic payments as well. Offline sync and XRP liquidity. Offline CBDC transactions sync later, often requiring currency conversion. XRP's ODL can facilitate this, boosting its demand as a settlement trigger. And we all know about cross-border use and the geopolitical edge. In unstable regions or diplomatic missions, XRP's neutrality and speed position it as a key bridge asset for offline CBDC use, boosting XRP's adoption along the way. What's going to happen is it's not only going to drive institutional demand, it's also going to drive retail demand as well. Everybody is going to want to utilize this cryptocurrency in the future. Because if you want to send money from point A to point B, you want it to be fast and cheap. That's the whole reason we're going to see a lot of people and a lot of banks push away from SWIFT over time. You got to factor in micropayments as well. But take a listen to this. It's David Schwartz and Anthony Welfare. They discuss opportunity for DLT technology to support a central bank digital currency system.
Yeah, I think one of the things, I mentioned just before around the physical side of a CBDC. And, we talked about Bhutan and the religious ceremony where you need a note. And I think that's the most interesting part is we're talking about CBDCs and a digital currency, but there's the whole physical side of it that still needs to be thought about and we still need to work out. And I think that's a bit of an oxymoron for us to work out how to do that, offline payments, disaster payments and things like that when we're moving from a physical digital world to a pure digital world. And yes,
they need central bank digital currencies to work like fiat money, like paper money. You don't need the internet to make a transaction using cash. They need central bank digital currencies to work in the same way. That's why offline payments are so important. And that's what's going to give Ripple the upper hand on other networks as well. But like I said at the beginning of this video, we're finally starting to see XRP turn green with Bitcoin. And hopefully that continues now. Hopefully there's no more tariff talk this whole week. Then maybe this market can finally move. You know, real world events play a big factor on your investment. People didn't believe it. They said, oh, Bitcoin loves war. But then a war breaks out and Bitcoin comes crashing down. Then they realize how real world events can impact the crypto space. And the same thing has been happening with the tariffs. But now that we have a deal with China and that's on pause now, I think things are going to finally move. Let's see how it all plays out. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.